Hello again, everybody. Dr. Glenn with Infinite Wellness. Another one of our question and answer series videos again for you today. Hopefully, give you a little bit of education today. We're going to talk about something that's been very highly controversial for me lately. I do that a lot. I'm hoping that's for you too. So if you have questions or you want to know things, if you'd love to know a little bit more or you disagree with any part of my video, please feel free. Comment below. We'd love to hear your questions if you have them. We'd love to debate with you if you feel like you need more information. And like and share, please.
All right, so today it says, are store-bought health foods healthy?
Store-bought health foods healthy. Okay. Well, this is going to get into a whole lot of stuff. And we're really going to talk more about foods, not necessarily just store-bought foods. So when it comes down to healthy food, it's become a challenge for all of us. We're all inundated with a million things that we're told are healthy. And we hear a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of stuff out there proposed as health foods or healthy options that are not. And the reason they do that, obviously, the health food craze and people trying to understand more about their health, trying to learn more about eating healthy, are easily swayed by commercial advertisement or fancy catches or something. So I think we should start out with, first off, defining what is healthy food. And then we'll branch out into things that we know they've cheated with. So healthy food, well, that's actually simpler than it sounds. Healthy food is things that we can get that are not processed. As little processing as possible. If I go out into the woods, and as a hunter, I know some of y'all don't believe in all this, forgive me for that part, but if I go out in the woods and I shoot a deer and I skin it and I cut it up and I make steaks and ground out of it and I eat that deer the way that it is, with no preservatives and no fillers and no seasoning and just plain animal meat, that would be very healthy, especially an animal like an herbivore, like a deer. Same concept for cattle. But of course, we know we're forced with cattle to begin feeding, to use antibiotics sometimes, to feed grain, which has been very highly adulterated. And people ask, well, why is grain bad? How about grains in our diet, right? We hear a lot of stuff about being gluten-free, gluten causing a problem. I'm really going to get controversy for this, but I'm going to say it. No one on the planet is allergic to gluten. No one. People are allergic to what has been done to what are gluten compounds. Our grain, our corn, our wheat, our rot. All of these are genetically modified organisms now. All of these are heavily sprayed with pesticides. All of these are highly processed. It's not that these products are bad. Grains were never bad for us. What has been done to grains has made them bad for us. So it's really that whole process. Now, finding unrefined grains, good luck. They're very difficult to find, and if you can find them, you're probably going to pay more than you would love to afford to eat those kinds of things. So natural products that we can make gluten-type things out of, most people that I know that have a gluten sensitivity have no problem eating homemade sourdough bread. Why? Simple, it's cultured, and it's natural, and they're using real ingredients. Yes, flour, slightly processed, etc. But we're realizing that here's the thing. It's the processing part that's making us sick. Highly processed white bread that can sit on a shelf for a month before you buy it is a problem. You are not supposed to eat that. There's too much processing there. So we get into what is processed and what is unprocessed, what is a whole food and what is not. If I go to the store and I walk around the outside and I buy peppers and onions, I buy celery and broccoli, I buy carrots, I buy beets. We're pretty good. Now, do some of those things probably need to be washed off from spraying? Sure, but most of those are whole foods. If you wish to buy them organic, that's your choice. A lot of times, organic labeling, there again, store-bought foods, right? We don't know how organic really is. And even if you're the most organic, most foods still have some type, little bits of chemical compounds in them. If I have a farm here that's organic and a farm here that's not, this farm is adulterated, one way or the other, either through water runoff, air pollution, just blowing it across with wind, and or rain, which comes across and sucks up all this food and 2 miles down the road dumps that same pesticide content as it's evaporated up in the atmosphere back down. Our atmosphere is full of pesticides. We've proven that. We know that they're sprayed up there. So that's where we really run into issues. Now, let's really go down the line. Let's get into foods that we know are bad for us. Cookies. Is there such a thing as good cookies? Not really. Okay, let's be honest. Cookies are made. They're made out of flour and sugar, oftentimes chocolate chips and fun things that we put in them, but we know they're heavily sugar laden. So if we buy sugar free, they're good for us, right? Yeah, please do this. Please do that. No, sugar-free cookies are not any better for you than, in fact, they're worse for you than regular cookies. If I eat regular cookies made out of good old-fashioned table sugar or brown sugar, yes, I'm probably eating too much sugar if I eat too many cookies. But if I just have a couple now and again, not so bad for me. I'll be okay. I can process sucrose, table sugar. Can I process sucralose, sulfamine potassium, carrageenan gum? These are all tricky names they put into these sugar-free products, along with other artificial sweeteners and preservatives to make them sugar-free. So am I doing well eating sugar-free anything? Yeah, things like sugar-free whipped cream, Cool Whip, cookies, peanut butter. These are not sugar-free products. They are products that only taste good with sweetener in them. So if they take out the real sugar, they've added artificials. I promise you, you don't want to eat it. Whipped cream with no artificial sweetener or no sugar in it is just whipped milk. Is that yummy? No. Same thing for anything else that goes down that line. Cookies and things like that. We can make them taste good with artificial sweeteners, but otherwise they're just flour and nuts or flour and whatever else you'd put in a cookie that's not candies. Right? Not very yummy. All of a sudden, even oatmeal cookies, right? Well, we have to deal with the oats and the whole problem with it we're back into the whole gluten issue. But oatmeal cookies, like those were supposed to be healthy when I was a child. How many of you ever ate oatmeal cream pies? How many of you still believe those are healthy? If you do, please stop it. Not healthy because it said oatmeal, right? We know they're full of sugar, artificial sweeteners, cream in the middle full of sugar, and that's what we've done to ourselves. But we've thought that taking the sugar out makes it healthy. Patricia.
What about things like Cliff Bars or Kind Bars?
Perfect. Things labeled as health food alternatives. Yes, lots of the breakfast bars, Cliff Bars, protein bars. We can go on and on and on. And again, here's how I'll tell you to try to understand that. Instead of saying, well, they say there's healthy stuff in them. I'm not saying there isn't. Well, what gets them to sit on that shelf for months? That's where they've tricked us, right? Anything that can be wrapped up in a protein bar or breakfast bar and sat on a grocery store shelf for 3 months and still be there and for sale, we shouldn't put in us. We know something there is not right. And even if they have zero sugar or zero anything, if they don't go bad, warning. Anything that doesn't go bad, warning. If I buy a McDonald's cheeseburger and I set it on my counter and it's there 6 months later and cockroaches won't even touch it, should you eat it? Right. Of course not. And then we get into the other side of this all too. We start thinking, well, okay, I'll eat real foods, blah, 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 I'll have a burger. Burger's, kind of real meat, bread. If I take the bread off, it's better for me. Okay, well, again, now we're back into what meat you're eating. And we're going to get into that side. Oftentimes people say, well, what about fat? If it's fat-free, now it's healthy. Most anything that you've taken the fat out of, what do you have to add to it to make it taste good? Sugars. You're not going to eat it if there's no fat in it and no sugar in it. If you take all that out, most food tastes pretty lousy. You might as well go back to eating green beans. Now you're healthy again, though. Good job. But we're not eating foods that are delicious. Oftentimes, many of these foods are full of stuff. So here's what I tell people. We're not getting healthier by having a diet soda versus a soda. We're not getting healthier having a fat-free burger versus a regular good cheeseburger cooked at a nice restaurant. We're not getting healthier by having sugar-free anything. Pick it. Doesn't matter what it is. Any of those things that we've taken out, the things that made it taste good to begin with, we've added more stuff to make it worse for us. And we're making ourselves more and more and more unhealthy by pouring in things our body doesn't even recognize. Table sugar, my body knows what to do with. Fat, my body knows what to do with. So what do I need to do so that I can still enjoy those things?
Limit them.
There it is. Eat a bunch less. Right. Stop gorging on all this stuff. Stop making it your food and make it just a treat on occasion. If I sit down to dinner and I eat a nice dinner, I have my proteins and my vegetables, and I eat my good carbs, and I have a wonderful dinner, is it okay to have a piece of cheesecake afterwards? Personal favorite, by the way. Homemade, preferably. Lots of butter, all the good stuff, real sugar, nothing fake, right? No, It's not to have a small piece of cheesecake after dinner, especially once my insulin has already been somewhat modified by my food and where it belongs. That's why they call it dessert. It is okay to have that when we have it with other foods. Our body knows how to process the sugar and the butters and the natural fats that are in things like that, and we're fine. Am I going to gain a bunch of weight? Well, not if I get up and do a few things. I mean, what's one piece of cheesecake? Say it's really dense and thick and it's 300 calories. Okay, so tonight I have to sit on my exercise bike for about 30 minutes, maybe 45 if I'm slow. But kind of easy to burn off that. And we can still enjoy these things in life. It's not bad to have sugars. It's not bad to have fats, especially if they're good fats. That's a big thing, whole other video, carnivore diet kind of argument. But good fats we know are not unhealthy for us. There is a limit to how much we should have, but good fats are still good. And so that's the kind of thing we need to look at when we start talking about health foods. Think food, don't think packages. Anything that can be preserved for any length of time, anything that you know would be bad for you if they didn't remove the sugar, remove the fat, remove the whatever it is they think they're taking out to make it better for you, stop thinking that's good food for you. It's just not. And I wish I could say that it was and make you all happy and you could have this stuff all the time and eat it for dinner. But we need to go back to just eating real meals, several a day, getting enough nutrition, and then that little bitty snack or little bit of something we have that is quote unquote bad for us isn't so bad. And then we can enjoy it in moderation. And that's really what health comes back down to. Try to find ways to eat good foods, get enough nutrition, and only with little bits for enjoyment's sake, i.e. dessert, do we eat the stuff that has sugar or fats or things in it that may be a little less healthy for us. But we can enjoy them in small quantity as long as we're not overdoing that. And that gets us out of trying to think of how do I eat a whole bunch of garbagey stuff on a high quantity. So that's my take on health foods and foods that are packaged as health foods that really aren't. Again, like I said, when you get into a whole organic versus inorganic, or Trader Joe's versus Whole Foods versus Food Line, there are different practices and everything. But really, it's coming down to please just buy food that is food. Do your best to avoid things that are heavily preserved. Do your best to avoid things that we know are heavily pesticided and sprayed down if we can't wash them off, and you should be a lot healthier. That should take care of most of it for you. Please, if you have questions, give us a shout. Love to help answer some stuff for you and clear anything up that didn't make sense.